Hi, this is Cable X. Today's date is 21st of May 2026. And it's been a while since I've done any live streams. I don't do that much videos these days. So I don't. So most two things here. One is I don't have the time to do it. Another is because I don't feel motivated, inspired, or just fired up to do it. But there's one thing that got me thinking to do it, and that is what took place, last week now? We had the Unite the Kingdom rally. So before I speak on Tommy Robinson, let me just give you a perspective on it, or simply my opinion. Oh, look at here. I was about to mention about the whole cash grab, about being a money thing, about Tommy Robinson being a grifter, but it looks like someone beat me to it. It says here, and I quote. I wasn't expecting I was going to get this, but it looks like someone with some decent credentials decided to look into what's going on here with the Unite the Kingdom, and I believe that most of the people that are there, they have no idea what's really going on. I think they're there because they think that they rightly distrust their government and distrust the politicians, and are angry about what's going on with the economic situation, immigration situation. Even though I do think it's not wise to simply be angry on immigration, because that in itself is used to divide us so that we fight each other instead of uniting, because that's what this rally does. It's the same thing with Palestine. As much as I support the plight of the Palestinians, I sympathize with their situation, and I do want to see them have their own state. If it comes in the form of a one state, then that for me is a better outcome than a simple two state. But the reason why it will never happen is simply because Hamas and the PLO are controlled opposition. But I don't want to go into Israel-Palestine. I probably have many times. So it says here, I don't think I'm going to read this whole thing, but I'll try. A day at Tommy Robinson's rally. Yeah, he's one of the organizers. He had someone else I was going to join him, Valentina Gomez, but she got banned. Now, I don't approve of banning anyone from coming to the country, people with there, because I am somewhat of a free speech advocate. But if you're gonna ban so-called Islamists, then you should also ban people like her, because she's someone that has burnt the Holy Quran. She is someone that has called Muslims dirty. She called the Home Secretary, who's Muslim, Pakistani Muslim, a dirty Muslim. She is someone who spoke last year, who said a lot of things that sound like incitement to racial hatred, or what you want to call it. But again, I don't think anyone should be banned. But if you're going to do it, then you got to apply to both sides. But anyway, I don't want to go. So it says here, Unite the Kingdom was built as a people's protest. It's not a people's protest. Look up a guy called Yuri Bezmenov on YouTube. Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Bezmenov, Bezemenov. Now, maybe after this, I'll show you some of his videos. So it says here, people's protest. All protests are I'm going to say it again, they're just completely staged. Because it's not who's in the protest, it's you look at the organizers, and the organizers are the ones that are controlled. Like on the pro-Palestine, pro-Palestine, one of the key speakers there, Jeremy Corbyn, Diane Abbott was there, John McDonnell was there, all these other people. They're the ones that you go look at. The ones that are the lead in the whole protest, the ones that take the leading figures in the protest, they're the ones that are controlling things. So he's not controlling things. They're the ones that are not controlling things. That's not accurate. They're the ones that are controlled opposition, because these people will never go after the system, because they are servants of it. your favorite anti-war person or your favorite anti-immigrant person, whether it's Farage or whether it's Corbyn, whoever it is, they're all controlled at the end of the day. That's what you got to understand. So anyway, it says here, on the ground, it looked like an operation built to turn grievance into clips, donations and sales. I've been on the Tommy Robinson's mailing list for a week before I made it to the United Kingdom rally on Saturday, but then he asked me for money 7 times. So I'm going to say this again. I probably said it maybe not said it enough times, but I'll say it again. This guy is not only controlled opposition, he is a grifter. He is profiting off the hatred of another people's by pretending to be a patriot on behalf of, i.e., intelligence services, whether it's British intelligence or Israeli intelligence. But they all work together. Is Mossad and MI6 ultimately. 7 times he asked for money. 7 times. Now, have you ever wondered why? How the hell does this guy look well dressed compared to how he used to look years ago when he first started in his EDL days? He had decent clothing on, and then years gone by, this guy, you see him sometimes wear some expensive watches, some expensive like jeans or a shirt or a jacket or whatever. I mean, what the hell? The emails were urgent and scrappy. Could you be a patriot that puts over the finishing line? That's a quote one meal asked. Confusingly, the state-funded target changed from day to day. It all implied a small grassroots operation running on the donations of loyal followers. In the same way, the rally was being described very differently elsewhere. Keir Starmer had warned of far-right agitators descending into London. The Met had promised a zero-tolerance approach and would deploy thousands of officers alongside helicopters, armoured vehicles and facial recognition tech. Now that's a very important one. Because in the end, this guy, Tommy Robinson, is setting you up. You people that went to that rally, all you Brits that went there, my fellow Brits, because I'm British, because I'm born here. I mean, you might notice by my accent that I have a foreign sounding accent, even though I am born here, like you guys, yeah. And he's setting you. He is conning you. He's a con artist, is what he is, a con artist. And there's so many of them in the truth movement generally, and he's one of them. He's telling you to donate to him because he's gonna do this for you, do that to you. I mean, he's saying things like 2029, which is the next general election, apparently, which is likely the case. Saying, oh, you gotta turn up and vote and kick this lot out, the Labour Party, assuming it does happen in 2029 before that. He's asking you to vote. If you know anything, voting is consent to tyranny, because that's what it is. Consent to tyranny. It's not, oh, we give our power and we put it behind this party that's going to help us. No. It's not. That's not what it's doing. No, that's what voting has never done for anyone in history. In modern history, voting in elections in any country, I don't care if it's a Western democracy or African democracy or Islamic democracy or any other democracy anywhere else, it never serves the public interest. It always serves the private interests. Now, if you hear noise in the background, it's because I'm in the car park right now. So, sort of on my lunch break, but I'll be leaving soon anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm saying here. And back to the facial I forgot to mention this. Back to the facial recognition. The reason why they choose to use that on the protest, because they're testing this technology out. So they're using the United Kingdom as an example. And now people complain, oh, they didn't use it on the Palestinians. Oh, don't worry, they'll be doing that too. Trust me. Because like in any protest, you're going to get agent provocateurs. Just on the pro-Palestinian side, you had people saying, calling for the KILL of Tommy Robinson, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. Incitement. They're calling for incitement against him, which is wrong. I know you can disagree with someone, but you don't incite to kill someone. You shouldn't do that anyway. That's wrong in itself. That is completely wrong. But that's what was happening at the pro-Palestinian side. But then you got the other side where they were doing something similar. So the whole facial recognition thing is undoubtedly linked to Palantir, which is all about surveillance on a mass scale. It says there the crowd were a mixed bunch, expressed discernible anger, much of it rooted in real and recognizable grievances. Well, I sort of mentioned that, didn't I? But around them sat a much bigger operation: donors, sponsors, QR codes, merchandise stands, crypto promotions. I mean, crypto is becoming the new way to donate, and you can't track it, you can't hold accountable to it, even though governments are saying, "Oh, we need to do something about cryptos because we can't trace where the money actually came, because cryptos are very less transparent than any normal donation, like straight up cash or from a bank account to another bank account, that sort of thing. But if it's from a crypto, then it's hard to know, isn't it? An AI wrapper, what the hell? AI? I mean, again, this is all brain revolve stuff. You know, AI, cryptocurrency, digital currency. A media setup built to turn rally into a lucrative viral spectacle. Well, that's what happened. That's why you had all these ridiculousness of singers there. And then you had that horrid, what's her name? Trying to remember her name. What's her name? Kelly Jean. I think her name is Kelly Jean. I mean, if I get her name wrong, frankly, I don't care, because I normally apologize if I get names wrong. But she said, "Get Islam out of the country." She said, sorry. "Get Islam out of the building. Get Islam out of the office. Get Islam." She's saying, "Get Islam out of basically every walk of life." But we know what she means. She says saying "get Islam out of the country." That again, she's just serving her purpose. And she's just indirectly inciting people to hate on other people. That's what she's doing. It's not about unite the kingdom. Unite the kingdom is divide the kingdom. I mean, we're already divided, aren't we? The people I spoke to voiced family frustrations: immigration, housing, crime, money, family, faith, and feeling that life was becoming harder. Well, that is all true. Others seemed shocked by dark information diet. What ran through almost every conversation was a feeling that Britain was broken, and that institutions meant to serve them, specifically politics and the media, can't really be trusted. Well, that is good. This has been going on for a long time. People generally distrust the media and politics, and rightly so. You got to distrust. But what's happening is, we've seen it with the Brexit and then Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was the tipping point, really. When this MAGA thing came, and all people that were into conspiracy, that were waking up to this conspiracy, what happened? The Donald Trump movement, the MAGA movement, they sucked all the energy. Well, maybe not all the energy, because I think there were people that were like, I think Trump's controlled. But lots of people, unfortunately, fell in the trap of, you know what, this guy's talking conspiracies. He's talking about 9/11. He's talking about, money in politics. He's talking about all the stuff that we know about. And this was assisted with something called Q, which is run by the CIA. Q is an intelligence operation. I don't care what anyone in the truth movement says about Q. They seem to like Q for some reason, think it's all legit. Well, it's not legit. It's a disinformation operation. But for some reason, they seem to think the opposite. It's not a disinformation operation. Oh, here we go. Money and MAGA. Well, MAGA, if you don't know, it goes, that word MAGA goes all the way back to the Church of Satan. It's sort of like a ranking of different divisions in the Church of Satan, and MAGA is one of them. And there is a Church of Satan connected to Trump, done by Decoding with Cody on YouTube. And clearly it says here, money and MAGA. There was good money to be made from that mood. For rally built around her, bit has been silenced. United Kingdom found plenty of ways to speak. Broadcast, sell and raise money from disenfranchised supporters. US-inspired merchandise at the United Kingdom rally. A logo for UTK CryptoCoin was visible during the live stream, which carried sponsor logos for Stop Secrecy and Core Signal, a company that the UK's financial regulator was warned people to avoid. Okay, let me just read that again. It says here, Core Signals, a company that the UK's financial regulator because like in any country, there's financial regulators, even though they are not perfect, but they do at least tell you and warn you, be careful about certain companies. It says this strange company called Core Signals, because I've never heard it before. This is the first time I've heard it. Is a company that you got to avoid. And it says here that Tommy Robinson, that's not his real name, by the way, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, Stephen, advertised it from a stage as a route to financial freedom. Robinson thought wealthy American backers and the crowd. This event would not be happening if it did. He said this event, would not be happening if I didn't go to the United States of America. He said Andy Miller, a Republican donor who he called a devout, staunch Christian, had given $200,000. I believe there was a video I watched a few days ago where he says this. And the guy that he's talking about is a guy called Robert Schulman, a pro-Zionist. Apparently, in fact, the US featured prominently alongside the Make England Great Again hats. Sorry, the Make England Great Again hats. May or MEGA. Or, you got MAGA and you got mega hats with US chants and Christian songs. Chris Robinson paid tribute to Charlie Kirk and sang praises of Elon Musk, two controlled oppositions. Speaker suggests that Britain needed the kind of free speech politics with the Trump's movement. Now, this is the thing, right? Anytime you hear the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, he talks about free speech, doesn't he? And then some people from his government, Trump government, and someone from J.D. Vance's lot, talk about free speech. They don't mean free speech as in we can question what's going on in the world. It's free speech on their terms. Now, if you told them, oh, okay, you want free speech, okay, will you debate the rights and wrongs of the Palestine conflict, for example? Just giving them one example. I mean, I could have used a different example. Here, one example. They'll be like, no, because they're terrorists. They're terrorists, the Palestinians. They're terrorists simply because they want to say we don't want to talk about that. But if you bring up 9/11 and there being a false flag, do you think these free speech advocates would care to listen? I think not. Same with the pro-Palestine. They won't listen to the pro-Palestine side. They just won't listen to the Israeli side. Another point, and I'd urge attendees to re-establish Christian values in the West by shopping them at Iron Trinity Curvin, a gym wear brand. Oh, look, there's that. There's that thing I was talking about, Core. Scan to access Core Signals. The Rise anti-media message reached its clearest form when an AI rapper appeared on the big screens outside Parliament, and this year revealed that Danny Bones, an AI generated artist created by a group called the Node Project, which is paid by Advance UK. Yeah, Advance UK, which is another political party that Restore Britain, and their leaders happen to be with Nigel Farage's Reform Party. One of them is Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. I mean, I could show you their pictures, but I just can't be bothered. I mean, they're not relevant anyway. I mean, unless one of them ever became Prime Minister, then I'll take him seriously. Otherwise, I won't take him seriously. But in one sense, Rupert Lowe is a different cat altogether. He seems to be doing well for himself in social media. He's developed kind of following. But like anything, these people that rise and rise and rise, it's not organic rise to their political power. It's more like their rise to fame or whatever, political fame, is all manufactured. No one becomes big by themselves. It's all manufactured. I mean, the rise of Thatcher, the rise of John Major, the rise of Tony Blair, the rise of many prime ministers before and after, as well as opposition leaders like Corbyn. You think the Corbyn surge was organic? It wasn't. I mean, I thought it was organic, but it's not. It's all staged at the end of the day. They only get there because they are part of the system. No one that isn't part of the system will never we'll never get 100 votes. Never mind 1,000 votes, or probably not even 100 votes. You're lucky to get 10 votes if you really run on a platform opposing the system itself. It's not going to happen. The Node project, it says here. It says the Node project. Robertson told the crowd they were in a war of propaganda and a war against the establishment. Now, this is the war of propaganda. They're saying they're battling propaganda by the establishment, even though they themselves are part of the propaganda being that they are anti-establishment, and the establishment is the establishment, and they're in the wrong, while they are the anti-establishment going at war against them. But the reality is they're both on the same team. So Tommy Robinson, believe it or not, is on the same team as Sir Keir Starmer and Rupert Lowe and all these other politicians, George Galloway included as well. They're all controlled, all sides are controlled. Doesn't matter if they're left, right, centre left, libertarian, conservative, socialist, communist, liberal, neoliberal, whatever different democratic socialist, whatever different political terms or ideas you subscribe to, they're all controlled. It doesn't matter because they all serve the system. A few months later, the big screen showed a montage mocking the media's coverage of Danny Bones, including hours before the character appeared on screen, and the track is "This Is England" played across the square. His lyrics about tax rights and life becoming unaffordable and the poor getting extorted reflected many of the grievances I just heard in the crowd. Well, this is him, Danny Bones. I mean, what a strange name. Bones. Since we reported on Danny Bones, the Node project has used the coverage as proof that the press is trying to shut it down and as a way to raise money. Raise money. Danny Bones has t-shirts gone on sale. Again, this is a money make. This is what you call a racket, because that's what it is. It's a racket. Just look at the time now. Can I carry on for a bit? I don't know. Oh, the article finishes. Oh, that's good to hear. That's a bit of a relief, because I don't think I was going to go on for too long. This Is England has been clipped, shared and used as a soundtrack to videos of the rally, effectively becoming its protest song. By Tuesday, it was #1 on the iTunes hip-hop chart. A song about, patriotism, United the Kingdom and all that is #1 on iTunes. Again, I believe there was a guy called Miles Mathers. I've quoted him many Miles Mathers, who talks about the immediate history being a kind of a psyop or a hoax or something like that. I can't remember what his exact words were, but he's basically saying they manufacture the rise of musicians, and people look at it and think, oh, look how big this artist is, and his music selling, and his music is all over the place. I've got to take an interest, but they don't realise that a musician's rise to fame, supposedly, or notoriety in some places, is by design. Same thing here. His rise is by design. It's not as if it went to #1 by accident. Nice. Someone says to me, "Oh, what about how many people download it?" Well, do you know whether those figures are even accurate? Do we know are they accurate? Do we know? They can rig them, When the song finished, Robertson returned to the microphone. "Go on, Danny Bones," he said. "Even the AA captors were on our side in this battle." A bit hilarious, isn't it? In the days after the rally, Robertson declared victory on social media and claimed it had become one of the biggest patriotic gatherings one of the biggest patriotic gatherings Britain has ever seen. He followed up with the link asking for more donations. Okay, that is enough. Okay, I'm going to use some infographs. All right. I mentioned Robert Schuman. Here's Robert Schuman, former friends of IDF director Robert Schuman, publicly admitting he funds Tory Robinson and his protest movement. And Laura Loomer, this is what she used to look like. Now she is affiliated with InfoWars. She was an employee of Rebel Media and Project Veritas, again, two controlled opposition outlets. There's Tommy Robinson with ties to InfoWars. Well, he's been on InfoWars, hasn't he? The research was done by this guy, John Swin, who has a channel called Expose the Enemy on YouTube. See, some faces here you might be. There's this guy, Jack Sobeek, worked for Rebel Media. Pamela Geller. These people represent the anti-Islam lobby in America, because that's what they are. Robert Spencer, Horowitz. Yeah, so you see, stop Islamization of America. And Robert Shulman, he's like one of Tommy Robinson's big financiers, co-founder and CEO of Cognex, big financier of pro-Jewish causes, board member of DHFC, founder of Shulman Foundation, founder of Shulman Fellowship, founder of Technion, and all these different foundations behind the scene as Zionist. The Zionist is kind of like a Zionist network here. Then you got this guy who's quite famous himself, Robert Mercer, who donated to Donald Trump in 2016 and tied to the whole Brexit thing with Cambridge Analytica. A hedge fund billionaire and funder of Rebel Media and funder of Breitbart News. Co-CEO of Renaissance Technologies. Yeah, he was behind Cambridge Analytica, which was used to supposedly interfere in the US elections and the Brexit referendum. So Brexit campaign. All Zionists here. All Zionists. Yeah. Before anyone thinks that United Kingdom rally was anyway organic, it is organic in the sense, that majority of them were able to attend that rally, but they were only able to because this guy tricked them. I'm sorry to say, but despite what you lot might think in the rally that you went to, the majority of you might think, and I include myself, we can get tricked without realizing we're being tricked. That's what you got to understand in life generally. We can be tricked. So don't be thinking, I'm informed. I know what's going on in the world. I can't be tricked. Well, it can happen to anyone. It has happened to me. I mean, you can get tricked without realizing you've been tricked. And then when you do realize someone's tricking you, you realize that after a little while. But if you took a hook, line, sinker, it's going to take ages for you to realize you got tricked. And that's what happened with all those 50,000 people. I'm sorry to say, I think there's a minority of people who know that this guy, Tommy Robinson, is a shill and controlled opposition. Because I've seen videos where it shows that actually he is a shill. And it even shows people asking other people, hey, why are you carrying an Israel flag at United Kingdom rally? I thought this is about Britain. Because clearly it's not about Britain. Because if they're referencing America, they're referencing Israel, why the hell are you having this rally? I mean, is it really United Kingdom, or is it Unite Israel and America and the UK? Obviously the whole thing is misleading. Okay, this is what I wanted to mention. Here's here. It says this is like the rally. Tommy Robinson told the audience that the UK needs ICE. Well, that makes sense since ICE uses Palantir tech, and Tommy had his legal case fees paid by Elon Musk, whose XAI are in the AI business, with Palantir, who have already signed a huge contract in the UK signed by the current Prime Minister. Well, that's assuming he's still Prime Minister by the end of the summer. Now, the Met Police are talking about using the same Palantir AI technology. It's called a scam, guys. Now, this is from Richard Riller. I believe he's associated with David Icke, but minus that, he's got some good information here. So what he's basically saying is, I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again. He's a grifter. Now, I like looking up different terms I don't mean. Or, sorry, I never heard it before. So a grifter is a con artist or a scammer who swindles people out of money or other sources through fraud, trickery, and lies, then using physical force. Deception. They build trust or exploit biases to trick victims. This is the grifter. Alright, the grifter, okay. Let me just read that again. The key characteristics of a grifter, or Tommy Robinson, or Alex Jones, or Donald Trump, or many people in alternative media, many. They build trust, that's what they do. That's what they did with Alex Jones and David Icke as well. I mean, they did that with a lot of us that got into the truth, got into this whole truth thing, conspiracy. And then you realize later on that, you know what, these guys tricked us all along. So it says here, key characteristics. They build trust or exploit biases to trick victims. The primary goal is financial gain. Yeah, we've seen that with Alex Jones, for example. All those products he used to sell, all those info money bombs he used to do. And people wonder how the hell is he a millionaire? Well, it's because we subscribers used to give money to this guy. I mean, I only subscribed to Alex Jones because I wanted to access some of his documentary videos and oldish videos. This is like back here. This is like many years ago. I've not gone back there since anyway. So primary goal, financial gain, and another goal is no product of value. They often sell snake oil solutions, fake investments, or empty promises. Aha. So again, that doesn't describe Donald Trump, because that's what he is, a snake oilsman. Same thing with Tommy Robinson. Same thing with a lot of people who claim to be for the truth and they're not. GB News, I believe that's what GB News is. I believe many people in that show are snake oils people, frankly. Yeah, they're not, I know you people out there who like GB News, you don't like what I said, but yeah, they are. Their job is to not get you the truth, just to keep you asleep ultimately. Make you believe you are awake when in reality you're still asleep. Now, it's not a coincidence that GB News happens to be bigger than all the news channels, simply because if you watch it, you'll think you're watching a comedy show, because that's what it is, really, a comedy show. Just like Fox News is a comedy show. There's a lot of bigotry that goes on there. I mean, I've seen clips of it. And people say, oh, you're not seeing the whole 1 hour. Well, yeah, I've seen plenty of things, and while not all of them are bad, there are a lot of bad actors on that news channel. I mean, there really are. Common text, so it says common. Alright, I got time to read this now. Common context and usage. Everyday cons originally used for petty swindles, like someone running a rigged carnival game or classic shell game. Internet and media. This is the most important one, or one of the two important ones. Internet and media. Influencers, excuse me, live coaches or commentators. Live coaches, not so much. Influencers, commentators, yes. There's many of them. The truth, many of them. Called grifters if they are believed to peddle outrage, fear, or inauthentic opinions just to drive donations, subscriptions, and merchandise sales. Well, that's Alex Jones all over. That's what he did. That's why I stopped following him, because I realized that's what he was. He was a shill. Even though I knew about the whole, he has people subscribe to his channel, because it was cheap to subscribe to his content. It was cheap. That's why I subscribed in the first place. I believe it was like $5 a month. I mean, at the time I was with Alex Jones, he was putting out good content, but I stopped following him by 2013, I believe. It was around that time. I stopped following him because I realized this guy is full of shit, because he is. And the last one, because I'm going to go now. Politicians or public figures are accused of grifting when they exploit their position platform for personal and dishonest financial gain. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. There is. And I won't say who, in case. Because I don't want to get any libel stuff on me. because I'm not going to accuse them of that. But there's a lot of internet truthers that are guilty of driving donations and subscriptions and merchandise sales. So that's what we're dealing with. This is why the world is, messed up right now.